Okay, I got one last story for you, and the reason why it's the last story is because my voice is giving out. So if I sound a little rough, I apologize, but I wanted to make sure I got this one to you. Podcasters have been the front line lately in interviewing politicians and calling them on their bullshit. And I've been pretty impressed with how easily they are having these politicians on and then actually asking them real questions. And I'm not 100% sure about what these politicians think, or if maybe it's their handlers that's getting them these gigs to go and talk to these podcasters. But it seems like a lot of them, the reason why I think that they're doing it is because they saw that the Republicans in 2024 saddled up to the Joe Rogans and the Tim Dillons and what have you. And they thought that maybe that was one of the reasons why they had success in the 2024 election. Now, Democrats think, oh, well, I need to start getting on podcasts and talking, but either they are not doing the vetting of these podcasters or their handlers are not doing enough vetting. But they are going there thinking that this is going to be, fucking greased down in an easy shiatsu massage. And it turns out that they ask harder questions than mainstream media. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's kind of gone viral. But Gavin Newsom goes on Higher Learning with, what's his name, Van Lathan. And Gavin Newsom is not prepared. Honestly, it looks like he had a brain fart. He was asked a question about AIPAC. And I guess the only word I can say is that it's interesting.
Interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
It's interesting.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC. And it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
Why?
I say that? Not relevant to my day-to-day life.
Okay.
Which is just interesting.
Listen.
It's interesting you say that. JPAC perhaps more, but AIPAC less and less.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is just interesting.
What's interesting about it?
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly. Hasn't been part of.
Not a body language expert over here, but when you see somebody doing this all the time with their shoulders, that means that they're struggling with the truth. He looks like a kid that was asked who broke the lamp. It's interesting that you ask. I'm not the only person that lives in this house. I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting that you're asking me about a broken lamp when there are several other people that are living and walk through the living room. It's interesting that you're asking me about who ate the cookies. I mean, it's really interesting. I'm just saying it's interesting. Why is it interesting? I'm just saying it's interesting. How many times can you say the word fucking interesting? Let's just see. Let's count how many times he says interesting. Okay, you ready?
Interesting. You're
One.
The first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
Two.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC. And it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
Why?
Why I say that? Not relevant to my day-to-day life.
Okay.
Which is just interesting.
Listen.
It's interesting you say that. JPAC perhaps more, but AIPAC less and less.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is just interesting.
What's interesting about it?
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly. Hasn't been part of the day-to-day.
That was 11 times he said it was interesting with a shitload of sketchy little shoulder shrugs. Who spilled the soda on the rug? It's interesting. I'm not the only person that drinks soda in this house. Why are you questioning me about it? Why don't you ask my sister? Why don't you ask your wife about it, Dad? Why are you asking me? I think it's very interesting that you keep asking me. It's very interesting. Can I sink a little bit lower into this chair? I'm going to disappear. Man, Gavin was not prepared to be asked about that. And look, not for nothing. If you are taking AIPAC money right now, it is a liability. If you're going into an interview and you don't have an answer for that simple question, hey, do you take AIPAC money? No, I do not. Okay, thanks. Appreciate the answer. Moving on. Look, Gavin Newsom has been very good lately on social media with trolling Donald Trump, and maybe that's his forte. Good for him. But he wants to run in 2028 for president. And if he is so easily tripped up by a question about AIPAC and he doesn't have a direct answer, kind of tells you everything you need to know. Now, for the main event, we've got Jennifer Welch and her bud Pumps. This one has also gone pretty viral, and it's very good. She has got on her program Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey, who gave a 25-hour filibuster speech that signified nothing and did absolutely dick. So she has got Cory Booker on, and she has been very good lately, going off on politicians who are taking large quantities of AIPAC money, specifically Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, and she's had some really tough words for them. She had an interview with Rahm Emanuel, who was, I believe, Barack Obama's first chief of staff, which was a mistake on Barack Obama's part. Bad dude, Rahm Emanuel. And she sliced and diced him up. She was not having any of his bullshit. And ever since then, people have been paying attention to her and the I've Had It podcast because, you know, she's a no-nonsense woman from Oklahoma who does not give a fuck. And it's pretty awesome to watch. And man, this clip is glorious. Have a listen.
Fuck no across the board. What do you have to say about the capitulation that you participated in and where the Democratic Party is right now?
And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95...
That's such bullshit. That is such bullshit. It's not a purity test.
Boy, he was not ready for that. The purity test being, do you take AIPAC money? And he's like, oh, but this is all these damn purity tests. And she's like, that is bullshit. Like, yes, honey, get them.
It's a, are we in this fight? And we hear you, like when you did your 25-hour speech, I was like, go, Cory. And then there's a photo shoot with you with Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, there was a picture of him and a whole bunch of senators, and some of them are out and proud supporters of Benjamin Netanyahu, and they're all standing right beside him in this big room. Netanyahu's in the middle, and you've got, you know, Amy Klobuchar and Adam Shifty Schiff and a handful of others. There's probably 12, 15 senators in the room. And then you see hiding behind a couple people with his little head peeking out from behind two other senators. There he is. There's fucking Cory Booker right there. And she had made mention of it. I remember when I saw that, I did a clip on it and I pointed it out too. It was like, oh my God, man, you just did 25-hour filibuster against the Republican Party. It's just his way of, hey, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for 2028 if we have free and fair elections. Different story. But I called him out on that. She called him out on that. And obviously he did not do any vetting. And he went on this program. And now she's like, that is bullshit. A purity test. No, dog. If you're taking money from fucking AIPAC, then that means you support the genocide in Gaza. That's all there is to it. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer have taken copious amounts of money. And look what they do. They do nothing but Israeli defense. No matter how bad the war crimes are, they will still stand up and defend Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, and the Likud party because they take buckets of money from AIPAC.
And I was just like, what in the actual fuck?
I'm sorry. I have real problems with Benjamin Netanyahu. Outrageous things that he's doing. The way you fight for those things is you sit down face to face with somebody. I have disagreements with a lot of people. Look, I'm one of a handful of people that don't take corporate PAC money. I don't understand my Democratic
What
Party.
about AIPAC money? You take AIPAC money, don't you?
A minuscule percentage of my resources come from
I read it's like 800,000.
Yeah, wow, man. A minuscule. That's like couch cushion money. What are you talking about? 800,000. Well, wait a minute. I mean, that's over my lifetime as a politician. That's nothing. It's chicken feed. $800,000. That's half of what Chuck Schumer has taken. So it's not that fucking minuscule.
Yeah, but that's a lifetime number.
So profoundly disappointed with the leadership. Like, for example, your colleague, Chuck Schumer. Why do I feel so disappointed with the federal leadership when I see like Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, they're out there fighting every day. And I see a vacuum.
Okay, so
Boy, he is not prepared. Look at that. Look at the walnut forehead that he's got going on there. I don't know if this is his fake concern look or this is actual concern. Like, what the fuck did I get into? She just called me on my bullshit.
and you say Chuck Schumer this, Chuck Schumer this. I'm telling you right now, most people in my state do not know who Chuck Schumer is.
Right.
They don't. They can't name him. They can't name Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, dog, you just got your ass busted. Why are you obfuscating? Why are you not answering the question? Because you want the AIPAC money. You need those donations. And you like taking that money. So if you are wondering why Cory Booker is not answering your question about taking AIPAC money, is because he is a supporter of Bibi Netanyahu. He is a supporter of Israel. Maybe he says he doesn't like the genocide. I mean, I don't like the way that they're doing it. It's terrible. It makes me look really bad for taking all this money, but you know, what are you going to do? I need to raise $10,000 every day so I can stay in office, and AIPAC is there. I mean, it's only $800,000, you know, almost $1 million, but it's been over my lifetime, so it's just a drop in the bucket. It's not that big of a deal. What are you guys complaining about? You know, I glad-handed Bibi Netanyahu, and I took a group photo with him, even though I ducked behind a couple people. You don't see me, right? You don't see me, right? Dude, what the fuck, man? Seriously, what in the actual fuck? Anyway, I will give mad respect to Jennifer Welch of the I've Had It podcast and Pumps. They did a very good job of holding his feet to the fire, even though he did his slippery, slicky, bazickety way of getting out of answering your question, even though you asked it several times during this interview. But that is how you interview a politician. You ask him a question. If he doesn't answer, you ask again. If he doesn't answer again, you keep asking until he either answers or it looks super obvious to your audience that he is avoiding answering the question, which is as good as getting an answer anyway. He looks like a slick politician. I mean, when you look at Gavin Newsom, I mean, he looks like he's auditioning for American Psycho 2 with that slick back hair and line of bullshit. Cory Booker, he might not have the slick back hair, but he certainly has a line of bullshit. And I'm glad to see that Von Lathan and Jennifer Welch held those two sneaky politicians' feet to the fire. I have no doubt that those guys will be running for president in 2028. And I can tell you right now, they ain't it. Anyway, that's the show for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it myself. I appreciate you sticking around. And if you did enjoy yourself and you learned something or you found my stylings humorous and made you chuckle, whatever, please like and subscribe. It really helped me out in the algorithm, and I will sing your praises and I will dance at your wedding. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you next time. You take care. Bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.